Good afternoon, my lovely babes from my kitchen. How are you today? Hi, Dawn.
Hello.
Hello. We don't hear you as loud as we should hear you.
Hi.
Hope everyone is all right. I managed to go live today. Kids are in bed. It's 4 minutes to midnight, but we're gonna rock this. So I'm wide awake, not really, but let's do this. All right. Um, sorry. Not long talking. What we're going to do today is talk about the BRYAN KOHBERGER case. As you guys know me and my followers and subscribers know me, I'm a little neat freak, I'm an organization freak, and I'm also totally into data, right? So when I read the affidavit that came out a few days ago, I read it twice, 3 times, 4 times, 5 times, and I didn't understand a word he was saying or trying to say in the affidavit. So what did I do? I put everything in order. What he does, and I'm gonna show you in a few seconds. Um, he is all over the place writing that affidavit. Um, he puts November the 13th on this case, then follows up by December. Then he puts in the middle November again. Then he goes on to say something about June and his phone pings and so on and so on. So, what I did for you guys, I put it all in order. And when I did that, I noticed some weird things going on in the affidavit. You also got to keep in mind we do not have everything. We only have this document. The prosecution is building a case. The case is still under investigation, so it's obvious that we don't have everything, right? But still, we have quite a lot, unlike if you compare it to other affidavits that are out there, especially in the Watts case. We have quite a lot. So, I don't know how many people of you have read the actual one. I'm going to turn my camera off real quick and just go to the original one. Where is it? Here, right? So this is the written affidavit in the order it basically came out, like all over the place. In my opinion, it's all over the place. He starts off, we have a lot, it's 19 pages. When I remember the Watts case, like had 3 or so. So he's starting off with November the 13th. That's okay. Then he goes over to the autopsy reports a little bit. Then he goes to December the 15th, then back to November the 13th, and so on and so on. So now I do understand that I put that in order. I do understand the written document a little bit better. And I'm going to show you right now. Where is it? There it is. So this is what I prepared for you guys. This is basically nothing other than the written affidavit you all know, just in order, right? So I put it in 3 columns. The events at the house, the cameras, surveillance cameras that picked up BK's vehicle, and his phone events or pings or locations, right? So we start off with June 22nd to November the 13th. June 22nd is when he had the contract made of his phone provider, which was AT&T. And as I continue, this information you can read up in the affidavit. I have not put anything in there like rumors or nothing like that, right? It's all just taken from the original document. So the phone is utilizing cellular resources that provide coverage to the area of 1122 King Road on at least 12 occasions prior to November the 13th, 22. All of these occasions, except for one, occurred in the late evening and early morning hours of their respective days. One of these occasions, on August the 22nd, 22, the phone utilized cellular resources providing coverage to the King Road residents from approximately 10:34 to 11:35. Stating my own opinion by reading that, and you will soon notice why I say that. I do personally not believe, given the data and the documents we have as of today, that he stalked the house. I am under the impression, reading through articles, that he knew the house. He knew the layout of the house. And he probably, I don't know, Adrian, my moderator, said maybe he was in the house before at a party or something, right? So we cannot just say he just stalked them from outside. We don't know. Another thing that I noticed is that the corporal drafting that affidavit states that on at least 12 occasions, he was there late evening and early morning hours. Was that an overnight thing maybe, right? Because he singles one occasion out on August the 22nd, 22. This is when he was seen, or his phone pinged, from 10:34 to 11:35. So why would he single that one out? Is that different to when he was in the area before, 11 times or 12 times before that? So why is that singled out, right? It's just an observation, a little observation. So from 9, and this is all Dylan's statement in the affidavit. So from 9 p.m. to 1:45 a.m., Dylan states that she saw Ethan and Sana on the campus, and at 1:45 a.m. she states that Ethan and Sana went home. By 10 p.m. to 1:30, Kylie and Maddie are at the bar. From 1:30 to 1:56, we see Kylie and Maddie at the food truck. We also saw the video of them ordering their food and stuff and having fun with their friends. So at 1:56 a.m., Adam, largely unknown this guy, provides a ride home for Kaylee and Maddie. And as you see here, no camera picks up BK, and he does not ping with his phone in the area. So for people who thought, he probably stalked them at the food truck or at the club or stuff like that, well, no. According to the timeline, he didn't. He wasn't even in the area, right? But that changes in a second. So at 2 a.m., according to Dylan again, they were all at home. So now, the first phone ping we see is at 2:42 a.m. when BK pings at his residence. 2 minutes later, he's on the way to Moscow. Can you guys see that good? If not, I zoom in. So nothing happens in the house until 4 a.m. But now the camera captures him and his phone starts pinging. So from 2:42 to 2:47, he pings along the way. So the camera captures him Southeast Nevada Street at Northeast Stadium Way, leaving his residence. and does line up with his phone pings. At 2:47, although, his phone stops reporting to the network, and law enforcement states, which is consistent with either the phone being in an area without coverage or the connection to the network is disabled, such as putting the phone in airplane mode or that the phone is turned off. That makes sense, right? But what doesn't make sense is this guy was about to get a PhD in criminology, right? So he turns his phone off and forgets about the cameras. This is something that's a bit odd to me. I mean, he obviously knows, criminology, studying, and all that. So I don't know what's going on here. So he turns his I almost said camera. He turns his phone off at 2:47 and doesn't turn it on for like 2 hours. So then he's seen again at 2:53. So he totally forgets that, oh, there are cameras everywhere in the area. I turn my phone off, but the camera picks me up, right? So at 2:53 a.m., he's seen southeast on Nevada Street in Pullman, Washington still, towards the SR 270. The SR 270 connects Pullman to Moscow. So that's the road that's going through there. Half an hour later, so from 3 a.m., he's driving around the area. He's captured by the camera at 700th block of Indian Hills Drive, heading west. 2 minutes later, he's on Steiner Avenue at Idaho State Highway. 1 minute later, he enters the King Road neighborhood, so the house. Then he does the following. At 3:29, phone is off, right? But he's seen on camera. He passes the house 3 times and leaves through Valenta Drive. Valenta Drive is behind the residence. Then, from then on, he's not picked up again. No, neither his phone nor on camera. So, from 4 a.m., according to Dylan, all of the residents of the house are sleeping or are at least in their rooms, right? But she wakes up at 4 a.m. So, Sana receives a DoorDash delivery. And many people speculated, oh, this could be the bag of, what was it, like some chicken or what that was in the kitchen. I personally believe that bag of food delivery was from an earlier date, but we will see that once the trial starts, probably when they show the crime scene photos. So she receives a DoorDash delivery, and Dylan, forgot to tell law enforcement about that. So the delivery driver actually told law enforcement that he delivered food to Sana that night at 4 a.m. Dylan woke up at 4 a.m., as she stated, and heard what she stated sounded like Gonsalves, that's Kylie, playing with her dog in one of the upstairs bedrooms, which are located on the 3rd floor. And here you see a screenshot of the floor plan of the 3rd floor. This to your right is Kylie's bedroom. To the left is Maddie's bedroom. Now, the affidavit states that upon entering of law enforcement, they found the dog in Kylie's room. Alone, obviously. And the 2 girls were in a, obvious state of being dead in Maddie's bedroom. So she woke up to hearing the dog playing with what she thought to be Kylie in her bedroom. So she heard some sort of commotion up there, right? So then we go further. But the bodies were not in Kylie's bedroom. They were both on the single bed in Maddie's bedroom. A short time later, Dylan said she heard who she thought was Kylie say something to the effect of, "There's someone here." A review of records obtained from a forensic download, the phone showed this could also have been Sana, as her cellular phone indicated she was likely awake and using the TikTok app. I mean, they state that nobody of the victims were awake, but how can Sana then hear Kylie saying somebody here? So that's weird. Or playing with her dog. Anyways, so she's using the TikTok app. Dylan stated she looked out of her bedroom but did not see anything when she heard the comment about someone being in the house. So she sneaked out, looked out, but did not see anything. At around the same time, Dylan stated she opened her door for a second time when she heard what she thought was crying coming from Sana's room. Dylan then said she heard a male voice say something to the effect of, "It's okay, I'm going to help you." And I put here in red and in brackets, could this have been the DoorDash delivery driver? You know, when she gets a delivery of food, maybe, she had her hands full or whatnot. She receives the food and the driver says, "Oh, don't worry about it. It's okay. I'm going to help you to bring the food in or whatnot." Right? This is just a little observation. Not sure. This is not in the affidavit, but that's why I put it in red. But it could be a possibility, right? Because the killer, I mean, would he say, "It's okay, I'm going to help you"? I don't know. And this was like 4 a.m. So here you see the floor plan of the main, I would say, floor. This is the kitchen. This is right here is Sana's and Ethan's room where they were found, to the right, bottom right. And here, top left corner, this is Dylan's bedroom. So a shoe print was found right here. She states that he came towards her. She took a good look at him, stated he had bushy eyebrows and all that, and passed her room and went through the kitchen, through the glass sliding doors up here outside. Then she locks her room. But we're getting to that a little later in detail. So she's hearing, "I'm going to help you," right? Then the camera picks up the vehicle of BK again at 4:04 a.m., entering King Road for the fourth time, turning around at 500 Queen Street. 500 Queen Street is right across 1122 King Road, the house where they were murdered. Continue to the intersection of King and Queen, completing a 3-point, then driving east down Queen Road. Then they don't capture his vehicle again. He wasn't captured parking anywhere or physically leaving the vehicle on camera. He went to Valenta Drive and then wasn't seen again. Law enforcement stated that he was likely leaving through Palouse River and Conestoga Drive. So that's behind the residence again. We don't know, did he park there? He had an attempt to park at 1122 King Road. Knowing there are cameras, see what I'm trying to say? Knowing there were cameras, he attempts to park. That's really odd, right? Who would park right in front of that house if you plan something like this? It's odd. Anyways, he wasn't seen again on camera, at least not for the next 16 minutes. So I don't know the area. Obviously, I checked on Google Earth and stuff. But what do you guys think? How long would it take for him when he enters the area of King Road, or when he enters King Road again, turning around, attempting to park, does a 3-point turn, driving down East Queen Road, and then disappears into Valenta Drive? Parks there somewhere and obviously walks towards the house, right? We know that 4:12 a.m. Sana is using the TikTok app. So everything Dylan stated above here must have occurred after 4:04 and after 4:12 a.m. because Sana is still on her phone. Then it starts to get really, really creepy. So at 4:17, 5 minutes after Sana is using the TikTok app, the security camera located at 1112 King Road, a residence immediately to the northwest of 1122 King Road, picked up distorted audio of what sounded like voices or a whimper, followed by a loud thud. A dog can also be heard barking numerous times starting at 4:17 a.m. The security camera is less than 50 feet from the west wall of Sana's room. And on Google Street View, it's all blanked out. So this is the King Road residence, and this is the house where the camera was in the back. This right here is Sana's bedroom. So it could be possible that, they heard something, some commotion and crying and screaming and stuff like that. Obviously, it's possible. But if that noise came from Sana's bedroom, that would mean that the murderer was starting on the third floor, taking the lives of Maddie and Kaylee first. And to be honest with you, what I found odd is this. He's entering at 4:04 a.m., right? By 4:12 a.m., Sana's using her TikTok app. I don't know how long it will take him to do all this, right? But let's give him a time frame of 3 to 5 minutes, let's say, right? That would put us at 4:09 a.m. him entering the house. And I'm speculating here, right? Then he would have had 3 minutes to commit the murders upstairs, then going downstairs at 4:17. Do you get what I mean, right? So he would have 3 minutes, 4 minutes at most to commit the murders upstairs. And he is not going into the residence looking around. He's targeting. He knows exactly where to go. He goes upstairs, killing them girls first, then goes downstairs and takes the lives of Sana and Ethan. So this guy knew where to go. in my opinion. Right? Or Don, do you have a different opinion?
No, I have similar opinions, but I was thinking about Xena using the TikTok application. That means she was awake.
I
That
think
changes.
every one of them was awake, according to Dylan.
It's not that easy to kill two people in the same room that are awake. If they are asleep, yes, but not awake.
Hmm.
And let's not forget that one of them is a male, and it is quite hard to stab him to death.
Right, and what also was weird to me is that the two girls were found in Maddie's bedroom, and the dog was in Kylie's bedroom.
I don't find
So,
that odd. I mean, we saw everybody a lot of
no,
photos.
because that indicates to me, I mean, they obviously did not have a sleepover in a single bed. So they were probably talking about their day or whatever, met up in Maddie's bedroom, were talking on the bed when they were attacked.
I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if they shared the same bed, sleeping.
Right. So his phone is still off. 4:04 a.m. He does all these things, and between 4:04 a.m. and 4:12 he commits the murders upstairs. Then goes downstairs, 5 minutes time. Right? So the dog starts barking at 4:17. You hear that on the neighbor's camera. And I'm wondering what not only audio, but what actual footage there is. Obviously, we don't have that right now, but I'm really curious to see what's on that tape. Because if they record audio, they most likely have the visual too. So Dylan stated she opened her front door for the third time after she heard the crying and saw a figure clad in black clothing and a mask that covered the person's mouth and nose walking towards her. Dylan described the figure as 5'10" or taller, male, not very muscular, but athletically built with bushy eyebrows. The male walked past Dylan as she stood in a frozen shock face. The male walked towards the backsliding glass door. Dylan locked herself in her room after seeing the male. Dylan did not state that she recognized the male. This leads investigators to believe that the murderer left the scene. And here I have another screenshot of a floor plan. Here you can see it a little bit better. So this is Sanna's and Ethan's bedroom, top left corner. And this is Dylan's bedroom. So that's from Reddit, I believe I took that. He walks towards her room. She sees him that when she states, I saw him coming towards me. The shoe print was found right here. And he leaves through the rear sliding glass door. Then, now, 3 minutes after all this occurred, like the whimpering, the crying, the loud thud, him walking towards Dylan, the dog barking. 3 minutes after, his vehicle is seen leaving the King Road area, speeding off. I mean, 3 minutes? I don't know. So at 4:48, I mean, look at the time span, right? 4:04 a.m. At 4:12, she's using TikTok. So he had a span, like a time frame of 8 minutes to do all that. I mean, we don't know if he knew the layout of the house, if he was stalking them, if he was there at a party. We don't know these things, but still, I mean, I think they were targeted and they were sought out. This is not a random thing that's going on here. So he's leaving the King Road area. At 4:48 a.m., he turns on his phone. Is on his way Idaho State Highway 95, south of Moscow, to Blaine. From 4:50 to 5:26, his phone is traveling south on Idaho State Highway 95, then traveling west towards Uniontown, and then north back to Pullman, Washington. So he goes home at 5:26. Then the camera picks him up again at 5:26. The first camera that recorded the white sedan, this is just taken from the affidavit, was located at 1300 Johnson Road in Pullman. So he was around in his area at 5:25. 5:27, he is on his way again, and it's all consistent with his phone pings from 4:50 to 5:26. The phone is traveling, and so is he captured by the camera. So this all adds up. So by 5:30, and by the way, nothing happens in the house. No phone calls, nothing. Not that we know of, anyways. So the phone is utilizing resources that provide coverage to Pullman, Washington, and is consistent with the phone traveling back to the Kohberger residence at 5:30. So nothing happens until 9 a.m. At 9 a.m., the phone is leaving the area of Kohberger's residence, traveling back to Moscow. At 9:12 a.m., his phone pings to the King Road residence. He stays there for 9 minutes, is then leaving King Road, and at 9:32, he gets back home. Right? So, what I found odd, and we discussed that earlier with my moderators, what I found odd is they do have the phone, all the pings, but all of a sudden, the camera that picked him up so well around the area of King Road did not pick him up, or they don't tell us. So this is blank. This is left out. No camera sightings. If we had, I mean, Don said this could be a strategy, right, for the prosecution to, because they know or they see on tape that he exit the vehicle? Did he talk to someone? What did he do during those 9 minutes? Did he probably go back into the house? Right? We don't know. Anyways, he goes back home. So his main concern is going to the residence, staying there for 9 minutes, looking around or whatever he does, and then drives back home. He's not going anywhere else. So his main goal this day was to go look at the residence again on King Road. Nothing happened in the house. Nothing, absolutely nothing, until approximately 11 a.m. At an unknown time, Dylan and Bethany, the two surviving roommates, call friends over to the house. Right? So she's locking herself into the bedroom, and then nothing happens up until around 11. Then at 11:58, they call 911, and the caller reported an unconscious person they cannot wake up. So here again, this house must have looked like a bloodbath. Why are they not calling in and telling police, there are my friends were killed or whatever? No, they report an unconscious person that did not get to wake up. I don't know what to think about this, to be honest with you guys. What do you think about this, Dawn?
Like I said in our meeting, I find the testimony of Dylan almost in its entirety made up. And I find annoying that the law enforcement took it at face value and issued this affidavit. Apparently, to American law enforcement is more important what the witness is saying than the evidence is showing.
I read an article today where it states that the FBI was on his ass quite early on, right? And they pulled him over, I believe, 2 or 3 times, just to see on body cam if he had any injuries to his hands. And law enforcement did know about the statement, obviously, of Dylan. And they considered this to be very important because she saw him, and she was not considered a suspect. Although the police chief, I remember saying in a press release, if I remember correctly, that he does believe that BK had help. Now, all of a sudden, I read an article where he said, no, he did all of this alone, right? Again, we don't have everything and all the data in the affidavit, but we have a lot. And what I'm just thinking about is that this guy knew exactly where to go, right? If you people say he was trying to commit the perfect murder, or he was trying to, investigate how he feels during taking somebody's life and what comes after. But the thing is, though, he knew exactly where to go. And if you go in that house trying to do this, you would open the first door possible. You would not go straight upstairs. You wouldn't. I mean, I don't know if I would, but this looks like they were targeted. Them two girls, first and foremost, in my opinion. So they call in at 11:58, telling the dispatch that somebody is unconscious, and they request help. So for 8 hours, nothing happened in that house, with the exception of BK being there in the area or in front of the house, we don't know, for 9 minutes. So then no cellular phone pings, no camera action here until 12:36, when the phone is located back in Washington. Then so between 12:36 and 1:04 p.m., he does in some shop and in a cafe, is and does grocery shopping, and leaving the store at 1:04 p.m. Then by 4 p.m., as the affidavit states, Payne and Blaker, law enforcement, arrived to assist with processing the crime scene, and Payne, the corporal, drafted the affidavit. Then at 5:32 p.m., the phone coverage is again in Johnson, Idaho. So he goes back to Johnson. In between, we don't know what he does. I hope this comes out at trial. And between 5:36 and 8:30, this phone stops reporting to the network. What does tell us this? Does he turn his phone off again? What's so important in Johnson? Does he know somebody there? What's happening in Johnson? He quite frequented this place. So there must be something important he does there. You know, does he visit somebody? What does he do there? He goes to Johnson as well the night after the murders. So he turns his phone off. He arrives in Johnson, Idaho at 5:32. 4 minutes later, he turns his phone off until 8:30 p.m. And after that, we have no data. So my question is, where was he? That was so important to turn your phone off for 3 hours. He was definitely not at home in those 3 hours. So where was he? And I do believe that law enforcement know where he was. He definitely wasn't at home. So this is the affidavit in the right order. And I'm going to go back and read a little bit of your comments because I don't see them when I do a presentation. There were friends there before they called law enforcement. What do you mean there were friends there before? All I could find, Mercy Joke, was that them two called friends that arrived there and then they called law enforcement. And I believe I read an article where it stated that law enforcement, the dispatcher, spoke to quite a few people. So not only to Dylan, but to quite a few people. Exactly, Wendy. Whole thing just stinks. Hard to believe one person could commit so much carnage in that time frame and not be covered in blood. Right. So after committing this crime, he doesn't go home. He goes to Johnson or Johnstown again. Hold on. Let me see. What does he do? Blaine Highway. Okay, no, he goes back. He goes back. He goes back. I think I have a picture of the area where he circled. I forgot to put that in. But in my opinion, I think they should look more into the relations and if they can find a possible connection between them. If he probably was at a party, if he knew the house, why they were targeted, and so on and so on. And also, well, I don't do believe that this was random. I don't believe that. I believe that was targeted. I don't know, how do you guys see that? Did he drive around to dispose of the weapon and bloody clothing? Is that why he drove near the Snake River before going home? Probably. Maybe he threw that in there. It's all a possibility, you know. He wasn't on the road for very long, though. Don, do you think that's random? A random act of...
No, not at all. Like I said, they were targeted. Most probably he was rejected by the girls and sought for revenge or some kind of retribution.
Yeah.
But let's not forget also about the main piece of evidence found at the scene, the knife sheet that has DNA on it, belonging to BK.
DNA of the dad.
Well, yeah.
And they traced it back to him.
Right.
It's been reported that a few friends were there before the 911 call. I don't know if they were summoned or just showed up. Either way, not good for scene contamination. Right. That's true. You know what? I said that earlier. This case reminds me so much. I don't know if you guys know this case, the Amanda Knox. It's kind of, you know, reminds me of that. If I had seen a masked man in black clothing in my house, I would have climbed out the window and called 911 ASAP, but that's just me. I do get that you're in a state of shock, right? Whether it is for 5 minutes or for 8 hours, as was in this case. But if you hear crying, screaming, I don't think that, the whole thing that they were asleep and that's why they couldn't hear screaming. I don't believe that. I don't believe that at all. I do believe simply because they were found in Maddie's room, I do believe that they were sitting together, talking or doing whatever they did, and they were wide awake. All of them were awake. So was Ethan and Sana, right? I don't believe that any one of them ever slept that night. What you do, at least, even if you lock yourself in the room, in my opinion, is call your friends. If you're too scared to get out of your room, why wouldn't you call at least your friends or use TikTok or Snapchat or what they all use, right? I
But
mean,
she did call her friends. I mean, Dylan.
yeah, in the morning. She called
Right.
different friends. So what I'm saying is, why don't you call your friends like Sana and Kaylee
Oh,
and Maddie, and just say, hey, you guys, I heard some commotion. Is everything okay? You know?
so she didn't want the law enforcement to be involved. Why? I don't know. There are many possibilities.
There are
Let's
many
look.
possibilities, and I'm not, I'm not suspecting her of anything because, like you said, it's way too early in the investigation. But I do have questions because you're scared. I mean, if you see a stranger walking in your house or walking out, and many people say, oh, maybe she was scared because she was underage and intoxicated. But for that, being intoxicated and stuff, she remembers quite a few good details.
And
And if
the cherry on top is the unconscious state. She said she found the her friends. Let's think for a while. The first thing you do is to turn on the light. Can you imagine how two people stabbed look like in a room when you turn on the light? And to say they are unconscious.
well, I mean, it was daylight outside, right? In the morning or at 12.
No, I mean immediately after seeing the perpetrator leaving the house. You turn on the light. Obviously, you see a bloody scene, and what do? You go to bed, right?
Mhm. Also, I read an article. I mean, I'm very, very careful because there's so many rumors out there, and the mainstream media is not one bit better. They, fuel that stuff. But I read that the dad of Kylie, he said that the family found a link between his daughter and BK, but he's not yet ready to say what the link is. So I think it all, yeah, collateral damage, Ethan and Sana. Absolutely agree. I think they were targeted, and for some reason they were targeted. But if Ethan and Sana were collateral damage, why not take the life of Dylan as well? I mean, thank God he didn't, yeah. But it is just really weird. The whole thing is weird.
Not only targeted, but it was very personal.
Mm-hmm.
Stabbing is a very personal way of killing. I mean, you have to look the victim in her eyes.
Right.
So that involves a lot of anger, hate, vengeance,
Right.
jealousy, who knows?
I'm just having a hard time believing that he did all this alone in such a short time frame. I gotta be honest. I really, I mean, 3 minutes at first, and then another 5 minutes or 4 minutes, and then leaving. I don't know. They say the crime was committed between 4 a.m. and 4:25. Well, this cannot be the case because he was only seen entering the area at 4:04, and by 4:20 he was gone. So this gives him a time frame of 16 minutes. I think that was a planned event, targeted, and maybe somebody else was already in the house. I don't know. I just have the feeling, maybe. Because why would Dylan say she heard probably Kylie say someone is here? That's so weird.
There is another possibility to know the probable time of death, the coroner report.
Mm, do we know the time?
No, I mean, according to Dylan, the interval of the murders was between 4 and 4:30 or so a.m. But let's not forget that the coroner examined the bodies, and according to the temperature and the rigidity, he could have narrowed down the time of death.
Yeah, but we don't have this information.
No, not yet, but it's what I want to emphasize is that we don't have to take as something written in stone this affidavit.
Yeah.
There are other methods.
Yeah. Wendy, I don't think we have that information yet. I think they did find more pieces of evidence they haven't released to the public yet, and I'm sure they found blood. But I just found the whole case so odd, and I'm not saying that because I'm trying to connect dots and putting together any breadcrumbs, but it just does not add up. I mean, she must have, according to the timeline, she must have heard all of this after 4:17. That would explain, if it was after 4:17, that would explain why she did not mention the DoorDash delivery driver, because she probably wasn't awake when he arrived, right?
I would like also to make a parallel between what I said yesterday about victims and this case. Do you remember that I said it is very important to know exactly the behavior of the victims? Otherwise, we would not understand what really happened.
Yeah.
So, in this case, the media is doing the same mistake. They sanctify the victims, and that get us far from the truth. I mean, how
Yeah.
could we know exactly what was the motive of the murderer unless we know the life of the victims, their behavior,
The connection, everything, what,
Yes. I mean,
even the
let's
dead
not forget they were
connection.
not.
So,
They are not kids. That is another thing that annoys me. They are called kids. Come on. I mean, they are old enough to drink alcohol, maybe get drugs and get drugged, and
yeah.
having plenty of sex life.
Yeah. And another thing, Catherine, my moderator, said yesterday in our chat that, and I did not even know that, that BK stated when he was arrested if they have arrested anyone else yet. that was really, hold on, I read it to you guys. His statement was, where is it? Here. His statement was, BRYAN Kohlberger was arrested, blah, blah, blah. After being booked into the Monroe County Jail, the Washington State University criminology student allegedly asked police whether anyone else had been arrested. Officers noticed the suspects being quiet and had a blank stare. See, this is another thing. Is he playing games? Is there another one arrested? Or is he, I don't know, did he really have somebody there, letting him in, covering up, waiting in the house for him, going upstairs while he is downstairs and all that? It's definitely a possibility, in my opinion. Wasn't there another girl? Why is it all Dylan when I say that it's all the reports? Yeah, well, Dylan is the only statement we have in the affidavit. The other one we don't have. Why one footprint? I believe he was kneeling on the bed with one foot on the floor. Well, that was hallway. Hold on, we can go through that virtual tour real quick. And this person who did that is really good. Like this Hughes, H-U-U-X. Oh, perfect. This is so good. So this is the 3rd floor, right? This is Maddie's room where they were found. And this is Kylie's room where the dog was in. So when you go downstairs, you go downstairs, and this is where the footprint was, shoe print. So this is, where is it? Here. This is Dylan's room, right? And this is the print. During the process, and this is from the affidavit, page 5. During the processing of the crime scene, investigators found a latent shoe print. This was located during the 2nd processing of the crime scene by the ISP forensic team by first using a presumptive blood test and then AminoBlack, a protein stain that detects the presence of cellular material. The detected shoe print showed a diamond-shaped pattern similar to the pattern of a Vans type of shoe sole just outside the door of Dylan's bedroom, located on the 2nd floor. This is consistent with Dylan's statement regarding the suspect's path of travel. So if that was, it is consistent with the suspect's path of travel. So she's looking out there, out of her room for the 3rd time, we learned. Shoe print here, and he leaves through those glass sliding doors right here in the kitchen. That's pretty good, this animation. Like that 3D. And behind there, so here is Sana's bedroom, and Ethan was a guest. He does not live there normally. Sorry. Yeah, it's very, 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 very odd. This particular coroner concerns me a bit. She's also a defense attorney and has defended perhaps in a few cases where she presided over the autopsy of the victim. This was Dr. Baden, to my understanding. And Dr. Baden is a well-known, recognized medical examiner. He's from New York, I believe. Um, but didn't they say there was a bloody shoe print, or did they? Well, yeah, kind of. I mean, see, that's
Blood,
the thing.
blood has protein.
Yeah, but wouldn't you? I mean, they don't state that if it was seen by the blank eye, unless somebody tried to remove the print and they had to use all kinds of chemicals to make it visible.
Yes, they had to. I mean, they were very good to catch it.
We can't
And
hear
then,
you. Your volume is too low.
is it good now? Is it better?
Yeah.
I said that they were quite good to catch that latent print, invisible, almost invisible with the naked eye, that had to be revealed using some chemicals.
Right. Maddie and Kaylee were sharing a bedroom that weekend. All of Kylie's belongings were gone. She was about to graduate. Okay. Sharing a single bedroom and a single bed. I don't know. I mean, she obviously didn't take her bed, did she? I don't know, yeah, but if that's true, that would explain why they were found in Maddie's bedroom. He didn't have any time to clean anything up. Michael Kenny Baden. That's him. Thank you, Kim. I should just say the dog woke Dylan up when Santa came upstairs. What do you mean came upstairs? You think Santa came upstairs?
I think she's presuming that Xena went down to take the food.
Oh, yeah. To the front door?
To the front door, yeah.
Yeah. It was said Kylie went on a date with him. He told her, B, make me quesadillas. She cut the date off then. Linda, where did you get that from? Can I read that somewhere? Wow. If that's true, then that's crazy. Luminol. Yeah.
If it is blood, yes.
Yeah. Well, obviously it has bloody material. I don't think DM was sleeping in her room. I think she passed out with BK in the bedroom on the first floor. That's what law enforcement told the family. The murders in that house had to have been loud defensive wounds. Again, New Orleans lady. DM was not sleeping in her room. She passed out with BK in the bedroom on the first floor. Do you mean Bethany or BK? That's what law enforcement told the family. In bedroom on the first floor. But Bethany's bedroom was, yeah, it was on the first floor. So how did she end up in her bedroom then and seeing him? That's weird. He still has 2 feet. It would be interesting to see if it was the same foot, left or right. I want to see if that print actually comes from a Van sneaker. But in order to do that, I have to go outside where my shoes are. So no.
I think they selected the best latent print they had. It's I understand that at first look it seems odd to be only one latent footprint, but they chose the best one they had.
Here, Stacy. Kylie's mom said that on a TV interview about that date, but I think she was talking about someone else. So maybe, just speculating, maybe this is the link to his daughter when he says they found a link. Yeah, at least someone, because um, we don't law enforcement in the affidavit never mentions that they see him physically getting out of his vehicle, right? So anyone could have driven that vehicle that day. And Kim, I tend to agree with you, because I mean, we don't know everything yet. It's too far. It's too early in the investigation. But Kim's saying, I still think he was in that house when they returned home, and this is what I believe too. If it wasn't him, then somebody else. I don't believe that.
I believe that we are all thinking that Kaylee was in fact the one targeted by BK.
Mhm.
I don't want to detail for what reason, but it is quite obvious. What I don't like about the media talking about Dylan is how quickly they started to complain about victimizing Dylan or bashing her. And I'm asking again, this is something very familiar to us.
Oh yeah. I mean, not even that, but what was odd to me, and I had to think about a little minute, was when I read that the FBI was on him very early on, and this was the reason why they didn't release the affidavit, to basically protect Dylan because she's a key witness. She saw him, right? So, how do they do that? I mean, um, do they go through days and months of footage to find that particular vehicle? Or did someone bring up the information to law enforcement that he drove that vehicle and that's his vehicle? And that's why the FBI was on his case so very early on.
There is
What?
there is also the possibility they have a very proficient software that has the possibility to recognize the shape of a vehicle on footage and search in a massive database by image recognition. It's not like in the old days that somebody had to play back hours and hours and hours of footage.
Oh, yeah. That's what I'm saying. But they say, FBI on purpose pulled him over to see if he had any injuries to his arms and hands, and it's just weird. It really is. Why
In
is
fact, it
there
is
no
quite
blood?
lame.
What's that?
In fact, it is not only weird, it is lame. But you are stopping him under the pretense of driving too close from a truck in front of him. That is the pretense.
Right.
Just to see if he has defense wounds. No, sorry, it's late.
It's weird, yeah. You're my sunshine. It's sad with the victim bashing. She's traumatized and can't imagine what she went through. We don't know the whole story. Well, she did tell her friends the whole story before law enforcement. So I don't know. I'm not I'm not, I did not make up my mind yet, but I think something's not right. I'm not saying that she's involved in any way, shape, or form, and thank God he let her live, but it just doesn't add up. But then again, we don't have the full details, we don't have the full data, all these things. So,
It is
but
so easy to tell. It is so easy to tell the truth. So I don't agree with people that complain about victim bashing. Her testimony defies logic, so it's obvious not the truth. Tell the truth, and you will not be bashed with quotes.
well, I think people are finding it very odd that she waited for 8 hours and called friends before law enforcement. And this is basically, to me, the only odd thing there is, right? I mean, if I see my friends slaughtered, I wouldn't call other friends to come into the house. I would run down the streets. This is what you see in so many cases and situations, even if there is obviously no hope for a murder victim. Sometimes family, if stuff like that happens, they run down the street trying to get somebody to help them, right? So it is and you gotta admit that, you guys, this is a very odd situation. um what was in her head, we don't know, but it's definitely um not what a person in shock would do, call my friends over, right? So she called somebody and called her friends and not law enforcement. It's just very odd to me.
Let's
um
say she was. Let's say she was in shock, so she called her friends. Probably they came very quickly because it was an emergency. Uh, they also waited 8 hours. They were not in shock.
what do you mean they waited 8 hours?
Those friends she called that Dylan
I
called.
To my understanding is that they both, we don't know who really called them friends. The affidavit states Bethany and Dylan called friends over. So I'm assuming that was that morning.
Of course, it doesn't matter. It's not that those friends were not traumatized by the scene, or at least they shouldn't be that traumatized, so they can't call 911. Yet they didn't. So
Huh.
something was obviously not right for Dylan or the other girl,
Right.
and they try to protect them in some ways.
Hmm. It was a friend of hers told law enforcement interview she had a stalker and didn't tell her family. This could also be the case. I can understand her locking herself in, but phoning someone to call law enforcement if she couldn't. I'm not blaming Dylan, but it's a weird situation. Yes, and this is all I'm saying too. It is a weird situation. But I guess this will all come out. I heard today that he's probably not pleading not guilty, and he will go full force to get this case to trial because he told hi, Bilby. He told everyone that he didn't do this. So, yeah,
If
let's
he
see
will
what
plead,
evidence there is.
if he will plead not guilty, he is a full-blown narcissist. If he pleads guilty and takes a plea deal,
Yeah,
I find that more reasonable.
right. And that's a good point you're making here, New Orleans lady. If the cameras caught the sound from the house, so from inside, then they had to be louder in the house, right? Yeah, I
Obviously.
would say I agree. So it must have been, screaming and, I don't know. She could have feared for her life, passed out, or had no phone in her room, or was just paralyzed with fear. Yeah, many, many factors play a role, I guess. How did he know that there wasn't a party that night? There usually was. Plus, it was Kylie's last night, a reason to have a party. Also, a good point, Christine. Well, he left at 2:43, I believe. Hold on, I should check. He left his residence at 2:42. So way after, of like 45 minutes after they all were home. I heard one victim had 54 stab wounds and someone was beaten so badly in the face that bones were broken and they were unrecognizable. Oh my God, where did you hear that? Oh God.
And what should we do? What should we do with this information?
Hmm.
I'm not sure.
Uh, as long as there is no official statement about this, I put that in the rumors drawer, to be honest. Do you think it could have been a paid hit? Paid hit. To find out if that was a paid hit, we gotta dig deeper and wait for more information. Yeah,
No,
sorry.
I don't think so about the paid hit.
Hmm.
It might be true for a person or two at most, but not for four.
Yeah. He's facing the death penalty in Idaho. Yeah, this is what the judge made very clear to him, that he could face the death penalty and if he does understand it, and he said yes. So it's weird because we don't have the facts yet, which is law enforcement strategy for the case, right? Maybe they just say, maybe one of the strategies is CL, they say, we don't believe that he had any accomplices. And in fact, and they put that out there. So a possible accomplice thinks, okay, I'm ruled out, blah, blah. And this is a strategy of law enforcement. This could also be the case.
It's not necessarily a strategy. It is not illegal to hold some information from the public. Let's
Hmm.
not forget that a trial will eventually take place, and some things had to be hidden for now.
Hmm.
I understand that people want to know everything, full transparency, full blown transparency, but uh, sometimes it is not advised.
Hmm. Oh, Stacy, that was when they caught him on camera, right? On August 25th. This was the day law enforcement singled out as the only. That's probably because they pulled him over. I have a friend who was stabbed over 30 times. Oh my God. She screamed her head off. Yeah, obviously. Um, yeah, exactly. If the camera is 50 feet away, caught it, surely the surviving roommates were privy to the violence happening right above them. Hmm. Or next door. Um, yeah, that channel tells me a lot. I mean, she also says NK was a nurse and she went to hospital the night of the murders and stuff like that. So, no, I don't believe that. No proof. There was that post on 4chan where someone said their guts. Oh, come on. Are you kidding me? Oh, God. No. I mean, people speculate a lot, right? And I'm kind of speculating too. right? Because I feel like I want answers and I'm not patient at all. So I want answers pretty quick. But stuff like that, I mean, no.
No, there is fascination, but that is sickness.
That is sick. Yeah, FBI has denied it was set up to pull him over, but I think it was planned to see his hands. Why second pulled over, first didn't get it on camera. Yeah, they denied it, that's true. But also, I read articles before they denied it, and where they clearly state that they were in contact with the different police departments of the different states when he was driving to Pennsylvania with his dad. So are they denying that too? I mean, see, this is maybe something somebody just blabbed out without thinking, and this could be, inside information of some sort. Somebody said it on YouTube or wherever, and now they're trying to backpedal, right? There were always people going in and out of that house day and night. Why didn't she think the guy walked past her was just a visitor? I still think she didn't see or hear anything. With a mask on? I don't know. And then screaming? Well, okay, yeah. Well, screaming could have been a party, right? They have the body cam footage. Yes, it's on YouTube. Kim, just type in the search bar, BRYAN KOHBERGER, body cam or CCTV. All right. This is what I wanted to show you tonight. Just a little, feel free to share that. Feel free to take screenshots. And it was just important for me so people understand, maybe to avoid some rumors like that, with the ceiling, hanging stuff from the ceiling and all that. I basically did that for myself because I didn't really understand. It was all over the place, all the data. So I put it a little bit in order. I hope that helps. And now we're waiting for the 12th. That's on Thursday, I believe, right? Not sure if I'm going to be going live, but I definitely will add to that timeline over the time. And then let's just hope that they have the right person, they have everyone involved, that he was the sole perpetrator, and people can move on and forget about this horrific case. Thank you, Bill. Oh, Happy New Year to you too, you guys. People who didn't join me yesterday on the Watts case. Happy New Year to everyone. All right, with that being said, we see each other very, very soon, I guess. Maybe on the week. No, not on the weekend. It's my birthday. But maybe Sunday next week. So stay tuned. And if anything comes up, I'll be going live on a short notice. Until then, stay true to yourself, stay out of trouble, and have a nice rest of your Sunday. Bye-bye, you guys.
Bye.